Good morning, dear students. Hope you all are fit and fine. In last video, we had seen and completed till unit 1, the second chapter. Now today we are going to start with unit 1, chapter number 1.3. Have you ever seen? On textbook page number 12. So let us start. This is a poem, Have You Ever Seen, written by the poet Anonymous. Now, before starting the poem, let me give you some introduction related to this poem. Now, before this, we had finished many topic about grammar. So, in grammar, we had learned about homographs. Okay, so this poem is related to homograph. Here the poet is making fun of that homograph in an humorous way that is described. So the central idea I'll tell you. Now in this poem the poet makes beautiful uses of homographs and puns. Now what do you mean by homographs? Homograph means two words that have same spelling but have different meanings. And puns is a new concept or new word for you. Puns actually is a figure of speech where a form of wordplay uses multiple meanings of terms or similar sounding words for humorous effects. Okay, so a pun makes an intent use of homographs and homonyms to add to the humor. Thus, the poet in the poem uses his imagination to describe homographs in an humorous tone. He conveys a message that things which are spelled same are actually different in meaning and uses. For example, a needle has an eye but it never wings. A homographic pun exploit words which are spelled the same, homographs, but possess different meaning and sound. They rely on sight more than hearing because of their nature. So I hope you have understood about the central idea. So let us start. First I will read out the poem and then I will make the explanation. Have you ever seen a sheet on a river bed, or a single hair from a hammer's head? Has the foot of a mountain any toes, and is there a pair of garden hose? Does the needle ever wink its eye? Why does not the wing of a building fly? Can you tickle the ribs of a parasol, or open the trunk of a tree at all? Are the teeth of a rat ever going to bite? Have the hands of a clock any left or right? Can the garden plot be deep and dark? And what is the sound of the birch bark? Written by Anonymous. Now I'll give the explanation for the poem in a paragraph. So let us start. Have you ever seen a sheet on a river bed, or a single hair from a hammer's head? Has the foot of a mountain any toes, and is there a pair of garden hose? Now let us see what does your poet says in first stanza. In first stanza, the poet talks about the sheet for a river bed. He is talking about the sheet for a river bed and hair for the hammer's head. Now the words are puns, as a sheet means bed sheet. Sheet means bed sheet. But the river bed means the bottom of the, here river beds means what? It is the bottom of the river. Had and has no relation to bed. River bed has no relation with the bed. The top of the hammer is called the hammer's head. So the top of the hammer is called the hammer's head, and the poet alternately talks about the human head, refers to hammer's head as hairless. Now the here poet is talking about the hammer's head, but hammer's head doesn't have the hair. Okay. Next, foot of the mountain means the base of the mountain. Foot of the mountain means the base of the mountain, and has no relation to the human foot, and does not have any toes like human foot does. The poet further referred to the pair of garden hose. Now here garden hose, which is flexible tube. You can see over here a flexible tube. And what is the second meaning of hose? A pair of stocking or tights. Okay. So the poet further refers to a garden hose, which is a flexible tube to use water to the plants. Then he compares to its homograph hose, which means a pair of stocking. Okay. So let us start with the second stanza. Does the needle ever wink its eye? Why does not the wings of a building fly? Can you tickle the ribs of a parasol, or open the trunk of a tree at all? Now, does the needle ever wink its eye? Now, if you had seen the needle from where the thread goes inside, so the poet is comparing that needle with a human being's eye. But human eyes are what? They winkle. Okay. So here the poet is telling, the poet refers to the needle's eye and wonders, is thinking if it winks like a human eye. Second, he is comparing the wings of the building. As we know, when we enter, we say A wings, B wing. So here the poet is comparing that wing of a building can fly. He is comparing what? He is telling that the wings of a building are being compared to the wings of birds. Here he is assuming that just like the wings of a birds help them to fly, the wings of the building should also help them to fly. Can you tickle the ribs of the parasol? Now what do you mean by parasol? Parasol is umbrella. Okay. Ribs, you know, this word is not new for you. Ribs cage, it is already there in the science. Okay. So can you tickle? Tickle means what? What is the meaning of tickle? Tickle means when you touch the human body, so when you touch it, the light touch to a part of the body which causes laughter. Okay. When anyone touch, you feel laughing, that is known as what? Tickle. Okay. So here what the poet is telling, the rib of an umbrella are homographically spoken about as if they are the ribs of human. You can see the umbrella has this type of structure, and inside there are what? This are known as what? Rib. Okay. So he is telling the ribs of human body which we can tickle. So when anybody touch to our body, we feel laughing. Okay. Or open the trunk of a tree at all. Now here he is comparing the tree of trunk of a tree. He is comparing to the trunk. Trunk means what? In ancient time, you had seen the bag which is very big. You maybe had seen to your grandmother or grandfather. So at that time, the VIP bags were not that suitcase, what we call. At that time, made up of trunk, made up of wood, or made up of mostly it was made up of wood only. So wooden box for storing clothes. Okay, that is known as trunk. So then he talks about the trunk of a tree and the object trunk, a large wooden box for storing clothes, and is asking whether the tree trunk will be open like a trunk. Okay. So let us start with third stanza. Are the teeth of a rat ever going to bite? Have the hands of a clock any left or right? Can the garden plot be deep and dark? And what is the sound of the bird's bark? Now here in third stanza, the poet has made a reference to the teeth of a rat, which he compares to human teeth. Now teeth of a rat, it is actually an agriculture instrument. Might be you had seen it is in this way. See, this is the wooden or iron, whatever it is, handle, and this, my drawing is not good, so this type of structure is there. It is used to remove the mud and all. So this is compared to human teeth. Okay, are the teeth of a rat ever going to bite? He is asking, these teeth are ever going to bite someone? So he made reference to the teeth to rat, which he compares to human teeth, and he questions whether they can bite like human teeth do. Then he wonders, whatever the hands of a clock are right or left like human hands. Now then, second time he is comparing the hands of a clock. You know, the minute hand, the second hand, the hour hand is there. So he is comparing that hands to with human hands. We human have left and right hand. So he is asking that whether the clock also has left or right hand like human. He asked if the garden plot can be dark and deep like a story plot. Now, can the garden plot be deep and dark? The poet is asking. What he is asking, that garden plot can be dark and deep like a story plot. Now here, plot has two meaning. See, you can see here the word plot is used as to mean an evil or weak plan. One plot is what? The place, okay, area, okay, and the second plot is what? To make an evil plan. Okay, now the last, and what is the sound of the birch bark? Birch means a tree. Okay, now in last line he is telling, finally he is asking a questions, whether the bark of a birch tree can make a sound like a bark of a dog. Okay, here see, bark, birch bark. So he is asking, the poet is asking, what he is asking, that whether the bark of a birch tree can make a sound like the bark of a dog. Thus the poet makes use of amusing puns to bring about the dual meaning of certain words. I hope you all have understood whatever I had taught in this poem. So what you have to do, you have to read it again, the poem. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.